Hi guys, welcome to my channel, and today we're talking about Gia Marie Carangi. Please like and subscribe and follow up for more. Gia Marie Carangi was a model who rose to fame in the late 1970s and early 1980s, but whose career was cut short by her untimely death from AIDS-related complications in 1986. Carangi was born in Philadelphia in 1960 and discovered by a modeling scout at the age of 17. She quickly rose to fame as a top model, appearing on the cover of numerous magazines and walking runway for top designers. Carangi was known for her striking looks and edgy, rebellious style, and she became a favorite of photographers like Richard Avedon and Irving Penn. Despite her success, Carangi struggled with personal demons including drug addiction and mental health issues. She entered rehab multiple times but was unable to overcome her addiction. In 1986, Carangi discovered and was diagnosed with AIDS, and she passed away later that year at the age of 26. Carangi's rise to fame was meteoric, and she became one of the most sought-after models of her time. She appeared on the cover of numerous magazines including Harper's Bazaar, Vogue and Cosmopolitan, and walked the runway for top designers such as Calvin Klein, Yves Saint Laurent, and Christian Dior. Carangi's distinctive looks and edgy style made her a favorite of photographers and fashion editors. She was known for her androgynous appearance and had a tough, tomboyish persona that set her apart from other models at the time. Despite her success, Carangi struggled with personal issues that eventually led to the downfall of her career. She struggled with addiction and mental health issues and entered rehab multiple times in an attempt to overcome her problems. In 1986, Carangi was diagnosed with AIDS, a then mysterious illness that was poorly understood and often carried a stigma. She passed away later that year at the age of 26. The life of Gia Carangi is a cautionary tale of the dark side of the modeling industry. While she was a pioneering figure in the fashion world, her struggles with addiction and mental health highlight the pressure and scrutiny that models face and the importance of seeking help when needed. Carangi's legacy lives on as a reminder of the dangers of substance abuse and the importance of taking care of oneself in the fast-paced world of fashion. Despite her brief career and tragic end, she remains an iconic figure in the world of modeling and a testament to the enduring power of her unique beauty and style. Please like and subscribe and let me know in the comments your thoughts of her life. At the age of 18, Philadelphia native Gia Carangi was making about $100,000 a year, modeling in prestigious magazines and rubbing elbows with the fashion industry elite. Gia Carangi skyrocketed to modeling success during the late 1970s and 80s as a fresh brunette in a predominantly blonde industry. Despite her seemingly glamorous lifestyle, however, Carangi's story is one of tragedy, fueled by drug abuse and addiction. Gia Carangi had an unstable upbringing. She had divorced parents, estranged from her mother, and was exposed to domestic violence. Gia found comfort in a group of Bowie kids and spent her teen life attending concerts and exploring the nightlife. At just 16 years old, Gia was discovered by a photographer on the dance floor and booked a one-way ticket to New York City to begin her career. During her stay in the Big Apple, Gia Carangi signed with Wilhelmina Models In 1980s, Gia's modeling agent Wilhelmina Cooper died of lung cancer at the age of 40. The loss of her agent, Carangi's only present mother figure, pushed her down a spiral of regular drug use and erratic behavior. By the time Gia signed with the new agency, Ford Models, she was addicted to heroin and cocaine. Using drugs was Gia's way of coping with the loss of her agent and the overwhelming responsibilities of work. According to photographer Francesco Scavullo, Carangi would often fall asleep in front of the camera and cause impulse scenes. Scavullo had a soft spot for Carangi and tried his best to accommodate her during their shoots so that Gia would feel at ease in front of the camera. In Vogue's 1980s November issue, Gia's track marks around her upper forearm were apparent despite professional touch-ups and airbrushing. In some photos, Cavullo had Carangi pose in certain ways to hide track marks in her arms from drug use. In what would be Carangi's final magazine cover, she hides her arms behind a puffy dress on the cover of Cosmopolitan. Carangi openly discussed her drug addiction and industry struggles, yet the young model did not receive the help she so desperately needed, especially while working in a cutthroat industry. After contracting HIV from a shared needle, 26-year-old Carangi passed away in 1986. Carangi's story was later portrayed by Angelina Jolie in the 1998 film Gia. In her biography "Thing of Beauty", Stephen Fry dives into the young model's strategy life to explore how addiction and an objectifying industry led to Gia's demise. When I look in the mirror, I just want to like myself, and if I like myself, then I look good, says Gia Carangi. Born in Philadelphia, she wanted to be seen and heard. When she was a kid, her parents did not provide a very home environment for her. Not that her mother never gave her attention, in fact, they had a mother daughter bond. However, it is when Gia becomes a woman of her own that she finds love in wrong places. During her teenage wild life, she found in David Bowie much more than an extraordinary artist. She found much of herself in his flamboyant personalities. Bowie's outstanding statements about sexuality and gender were ahead of his time, as well as the transgression boosted by other great artists and different cultural manifestations. Gia had her hair cut in the early 70s Bowie's style and started figuring out what other identities would shape her for the next years. By the time she was 70, she used to work at the luncheonette in her hometown until the day that she was spotted in a newspaper ad for modeling. She then moved to New York to work for one of the greatest model agencies owned by Wilhelmina Cooper, who eventually became her personal friend and mentor. As soon as Gia stepped in the fashion world, she was on the covers of the most famous magazines of the time, such as Vogue and Cosmopolitan. She would arrive at the shoots holding her cigarettes, wearing both masculine and feminine design clothes, and with a clean face. As a matter of fact, she stood out from the rest of the other models once she barely needed makeup or fancy clothes to impress anyone. In one of her first shoots, she met the makeup art assistant Sandy Linter. From that moment on, Gianni would declare her love for Santi. One of the most remarkable shoots of Carangi shows both of them nude separated by a chain-link fence. Much as Gia was fearlessly determined to break up with standards from the limited fashion world, her dazzling presence would give place to a gloomy path of no return. Gia's meteoric rise to the top provided her innumerous opportunities inside and outside the fashion business. The Belgian-American fashion designer Diane Furstenberg, best known for her wrap dress, hired Gia to model in a campaign that combined all of her products. Both spent a weekend at Calvin Klein's house where Diane claimed to have fallen in love with her. I was excited to see Gia. I had a girl's crush on her, said the fashion designer in an interview for Daily Mail. In the 80s, Carangi was a great fan of the new wave bands Talking Heads and Blondie. She even made a cameo appearance in Blondie's Atomic music video where she appears jumping and dancing. She also attended parties at nightclubs in Lower Manhattan. The model was then introduced to cocaine, and it did not take long for her sparkling light to start fading away. In the beginning of 1980, when Gia's career was at its peak, her confidant and agent, Wilhelmina Cooper, died from cancer. This devastated the model and headed her into a downward spiral. Heroin entered her life as a way to ease the pain. Her drug abuse soon affected her work. She would leave studios in the middle of shooting sessions to buy or to shoot off drugs. She also had mood swings which exposed her strong vulnerability. Scavullo remembered a section with Carangi in the Caribbean when she was crying, she couldn't find her drugs. I literally had to lay her down on her bed until she fell asleep. And when famous producers heard about her addiction, the number of offers declined rapidly, and Gia had to return to her hometown where she underwent rehab. Carangi soon returned to pose for covers by the lens of her friend Scavullo. However, in a controversial shoot for 1982 Cosmopolitan, her needle marks were visible in her elbows and her arms had to be covered under a dress. Her bloated and empty eyes replaced the vivid girl that she used to be. By the end of that year, she only had a few clients willing to hire her. In one of her last shoots for Versace, she left the studio before taking photos. There were left only a few contacts in Europe, like in Greece, Italy, and Germany. Her final shoot was in 1983 by mail order for a German clothing company. She has spent the next years going through intense treatments in Philadelphia and Atlantic City, but she would eventually return to her drug abuse. She worked for a while at a cafeteria in a nursing home. To get her smug, Jill would sleep with other men who abused her several times and also shared needles with unknowns. Jill was also dating a junkie called Rochelle, aka Alyssa Golden. Both had an abusive relationship, fighting most of the time because Rochelle could not stand seeing her stuff being stolen by Gia to buy drugs. Rob Fay, a driver who Gia met in her rehab days, was the only one with whom she shared happy moments. In Stephen Fry's Thing of Beauty, a biography about the model released a couple of years after her death, it said that Gia saw beauty in trivial things that we usually ignore. By the end of 1985, Karanji's heroin abuse increased as much as moving away from one place to another. Her health conditions worsened and her mother blamed her then-girlfriend for Gia's wretched life. Gia was admitted in Warminster General Hospital in Warminster, Pennsylvania, diagnosed with pneumonia. She spent the rest of her life in the hospital. There, she wrote about wishing to have pursued another career other than modeling. She found out about friends from the fashion world dying of AIDS-related complex or ARC. No one phoned her to tell about them. She was definitely forgotten by those who once promised to be there for her. Gia Carangi contrived HIV virus from a shared needle. She used to read news about the recent virus and did not fear death. Sometime before she passed away, Rob recalled a funny moment With Gia, they danced to Simple Minds, Don't You Forget About Me. Gia didn't let her wild spirit die, and that's what she has to be remembered for. And there's a famous quote by Gia Carangi that she said that will remain in time. Life and death, energy and peace. If I stopped today, it was still worth it. Even the terrible mistakes that I made and would have unmade if I could, the pains that have burned me and scarred my soul, it was worth it for having been allowed to walk where I've walked, which was to hell on earth, heaven on earth, back again, into, under, far in between, through it, in it, and above. Thank you guys, I hope you liked this video and please like and subscribe to my channel for more.